Welcome back, everybody, to the next episode of the Fresh Squeeze podcast, Season 3.
Woo!
So, we're back.
We're back.
2022. Gonna start the year off right with a new, fresh episode of this podcast.
New year, new season.
I mean, assuming people are still listening.
Yeah.
If you're still here, thanks for joining us.
You're a real one.
You've really been, it's been a full year, 12 months of podcasting now.
It really has.
Well, give or take our breaks, but a calendar year of doing it on and off. We just had our season 1 anniversary would have been this past week, first week of February.
Right.
So we're still going strong.
Or
at least still going in some capacity.
Yep.
So we're here and just ready to keep going with these conversations. So, I guess we're going to have a pretty general introductory episode today for this season. We're going to be looking ahead at what we can expect, what we can look forward to, what we can get excited about for talking about, and the people listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Do our little season 3 preview. I guess we can do a preview into what we can call the year of peak fiction.
The year of peak fiction.
So much to look forward to if you're a
entertainment fan,
pop culture fiend
in general.
So we'll get to that a little bit. We're really shaping up for this to be just an overall banger year, just for being alive.
Oh, it's just gonna be great.
Existence is going to be bliss.
It's gonna be just gas.
So I hope everybody is really just gearing up for a stellar year of life and living and entertainment absorption. So let's talk about what we're gonna kind of be formatting this season. So this is now our trifecta, our closing trilogy, our
tri-tier pyramid of seasons.
Exactly. So we gotta, even though we're not ending, we're bringing this trilogy pyramid up to a peak, and we really just got to deliver now. Going into the season, what's the goal? What do you really want to get out of our deep discussions?
I really want to... Well, I mean, we already said this year is the year of peak fiction.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to have deep, intellectual peak fiction discussion.
There we go. Sure. Now we're always going to be keeping our flow of fresh discussions on current topics, on pop culture, on all of our nerdy happenings within our mind and media. But we also want to kick things up a notch. We're also going to be examining more intellectual and adult ideals. We may have discussed some deeper topics in the past, but we're going to elevate this show to an even higher caliber of discussion.
The Fresh Squeeze podcast? Who are they, really?
What are they at their core?
And
what are the ideals?
What are the intentions of the Fresh Squeeze podcast?
Exactly. All of that will be explored and more
throughout the next season.
Yes. So we don't have all those ideas concrete, but we're just going to deliver some.
We're just trying to hype you up.
Just trying to hype it up, trying to sound mysterious, but in reality, we just don't even know what we're talking about yet.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't even know what I just said for the past 2 minutes.
This is us just spewing out nonsense for the sake of content.
Yeah. Now, something that I do know is coming for this podcast that I'm very excited for is our probably within the next like week or two is our upcoming all about the Batman episode.
Yeah, that'll be by the end of the month.
So stay tuned.
We'll be having our full coverage in all things Caped Crusader.
Yes. Now, as if you're a longtime fan, or at least a fan, you will know that last season, towards the end of last season, we had our everything Webhead Spider-Man discussion. Because of the new Spider-Man movie that came out in December, the weeks leading up to that, if you remember, me and Justin went back and watched a lot of our favorite Spider-Man movies in preparation for the new movie.
Right.
And so for that episode, we talked about, we talked about the movies. We talked about our opinions on who we think is our favorite Spider-Man. We talked about Spider-Man in games, Spider-Man in comics, Spider-Man anything.
Across the board.
So now, this month, we are going to be doing that same thing, but with everyone's favorite rich superhero, Batman.
Yeah.
So in commemoration of the new Batman movie coming out in March.
Yes.
So we will be rewatching some Batman movies and talking about Batman in comics, Batman in the games. And
Batman in general.
And just more Batman.
So
because he's Batman.
Not a sponsor.
Not
We're
a
just
sponsor.
hyped.
I mean, it can be. I'm open.
I mean,
But
Matt Reeves, you want to come on
Matt
and discuss
Reeves?
it with us?
Yo, Rob Pat. Actually, do you like be calling that? All right. I don't know. Come on the
I don't
pod.
know.
We'll talk about it.
We'll be tight with him if he gets on the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. You can definitely look forward to that later this month. But, so, we have plenty of other ideas brewing, as we always say. We're always going to have different topics of discussion. We're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about life and culture and more entertainment. But, and we also want to aspire to try out some new things. As we have in the past, we want to endeavor to interview some interesting people to talk to.
Yep.
So we can hopefully look forward to some good guest interviews, and then whatever else this season may bring. So look forward to that. Anything else about this upcoming season?
No, I think we're good. Now we can jump into this episode.
Okay. So we promised previously that once we saw Spider-Man, we would give a quick overview of what we thought about it and an overall review. We'll try to keep it spoiler free since it's still only in theaters right now.
Yeah.
So let's just,
or at least major spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, we'll discuss anything that hasn't already been advertised in major media.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was basically the biggest movie. It was the biggest movie of last year.
Hands down, literally was the biggest movie of last year.
And up until this past week, it was dominating the box office for like 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And so made well over $1 billion worldwide. So quite impressive.
Very impressive.
Great bounce back for the theaters in COVID era.
Yeah, definitely. They really needed that boost.
So yeah. Overall, I mean, with a movie with this much hype, honestly, it really lived up to it.
I think the hype was definitely warranted.
The hype
100%.
was warranted. I mean, I was trying not to be a overzealous, overbloated fan about it, but honestly, everything that I expected to happen, it was quite a satisfying and exhilarating experience.
And I think it was almost to my benefit that I went into that movie just with like, I'm not gonna say mid expectations. No, but like I wasn't hyping myself up
that this was going to be the best thing ever.
This was going to be the best movie ever, just in case it wasn't. But since I did go in there with regular excitement and normal interest, I came out being super excited about the movie, and I was blown away, and I was super impressed. So it actually worked out because I got super excited, and it was great.
Right. Not only was it exciting seeing another new movie again, but seeing a movie of this caliber was just really a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing.
So
no pun intended.
I'll say overall, my expectations were met.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To be completely honest, well, first of all, I'm very much so a Marvel fan. Spidey movies are awesome. I'm not going to say that's my most favorite thing ever, because it's not.
No.
I really like Spider-Man movies, and I like Tom Holland movies. They're really great new ones. And so I was excited to see this. Granted, being someone who's present on the internet, my hype got a little suppressed by how people are overblowing things, but that's just a result of the type of content
it's
absorber
because
you are.
Like the online group of fans for this movie was just, obviously before this movie there was a lot of good content out there. You know, like people's theories and cool fan art, but people were oversaturating it so much with dumb theories and dumb like leaks. Like, oh, this person's gonna be in it. This person. It's like we all
got
know
exhaustive.
they are not gonna be in it, and it was oversaturated and it got exhausting. Which is why I was like, okay, let's see this movie so I can finally, stop dealing with this. So
And thankfully, it was cool.
Thankfully, it was great. I'm not gonna lie. On my Letterboxd profile, it's not a plug. I'm gonna be honest. I gave it a 5 out of 5. Let's be honest here. It was great. It was amazing. Again, no pun intended. Because it was everything I wanted that movie to be plus more. Personally,
for me, like I said, it. Based off of everything I already knew about the movie, it met my expectations.
Yeah.
And the rumors that proved true were awesome to see, but I already expected them to happen.
Yeah.
The way they presented them was awesome.
Uh-huh.
But for example, when the few big surprises happened, I'm like, this is awesome, but of course it is, because I expected it to happen.
Yes, I did, but it's still awesome.
So, there was nothing in the. There was only maybe one scene that was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the rest, I don't think the movie presented as many surprises as one would expect.
I think it's honestly kind of just like I said, the reason that there wasn't as many surprises as we thought was, like I said, because there was so much thrown out there of what could happen. When one of those things did come true, we were like, oh yeah, I remember when somebody said that this could happen. So like
the main surprise or the main reveal was awesome to see, but since we already suspected it, I'm not going to say it necessarily lessened how awesome it was. We're like, oh, awesome, this is actually coming true.
Yeah, I remember sitting in the theater, and when the biggest reveals of the movie were happening, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
they actually did it. Okay.
This is happening. And I look over Justin, and I'm just like, wow. So the people were right. This does.
We're like, okay, they're hitting all the beats that we expected them to.
Yeah.
So granted, there was only, one pivotal scene that was very much so the turning point for Peter's thought process, and was probably the most shock to his personal life.
Yeah.
That was the biggest surprise.
Yeah.
That really gave him a wake-up call.
Uh-huh.
Right there, you were like, oh, I didn't think they were actually going to go there, but they did.
But they did.
So that's the only real surprise I had.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I could say that the resolution of the movie, and they're like, when you see how things are resolved and how things end up for Peter, they're like, oh, I didn't expect for them to do something like that either.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then what I also loved about this movie is they took, I'm not going to say who, but they took pre-existing characters,
made them better,
that we already knew and love, and made them so much better.
Yeah.
And that characters you couldn't think could be made better.
Yeah. The main villain portrayal was definitely the best part.
Was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Great performance. A really cool character portrayal.
Yeah.
So,
love the character design they went for.
Something
Something a little new. Something, but they pulled it off well.
So overall, it was satisfying. It was not disappointing in any matter.
No.
Fan of Marvel, Spider-Man, exciting movies, you'll be satisfied.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had a life-changing experience in that theater, so it worked out for me. So
I'm gonna be honest. Like, it was really fun to see in the movie, but I wouldn't call it a life-changing experience.
I definitely was, yeah.
I didn't feel Endgame level life experience.
But I think that's different because that is a culmination movie where this is like not that it's not, but it's
a turning point.
It's a very different type, Like Endgame was something that everybody saw coming for years, because that's what the end goal was. But then this was just something that I'm not gonna say that nobody expected, but like something that wasn't exactly expected, and still happened.
Yeah.
So it was still very exciting. I mean, obviously the Endgame was definitely Endgame and Infinity War was a life-changing experience.
No,
but,
like if we're gonna be completely honest, the MCU peaked there.
No, let's be real. Yeah.
Like things Marvel's gonna keep putting out cool stuff, but let's be honest, they peaked.
Yeah.
And so going
Which
forward,
isn't a bad thing.
they really hit the pinnacle of
Yeah.
like the greatest superhero story ever.
Yeah.
And just going forward is just gonna be cool stories.
Yeah, and like just because they quote unquote peaked doesn't mean that they're never gonna make a good thing ever again.
No.
Because obviously Spider-Man is valid proof of that. But yeah, I think they just peaked as in like I said. I mean, literally, that was almost 20 years in the making. Close to at least. Yeah, and you hit that point, boom, you hit your high note, and now you just take it easy and you just make good stuff. You know, not another Endgame story. We're not going to build up to something else for another next 10 years, hopefully. And then you just put out some steady, solid content.
So I think it'll be interesting to see where Marvel's Phase 4 goes and see if they're able to maintain the hype of their current fans and people who are jumping on the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
So yeah, Spider-Man was great.
Another movie that we watched recently
Oh yeah.
was
I don't want to get the name wrong. The Matrix
Resurrections.
Resurrections.
So yeah, that came out on
Back in December.
It was before Spider-Man.
Was it a week before Spider-Man?
I think it was, yeah. And we watched it on
HBO.
at home on HBO.
You're a very strong Matrix fan.
I'm very now.
Why don't you talk about it first?
For those who don't know, I love the Matrix Trilogy. Okay, I absolutely like when I saw the first one for the first time, loved it. Still love it to this day. It's one of my favorite movies ever. And now when this movie, I remember when they announced this movie. Obviously, I was very excited.
Granted, you're a not first generation fan of this.
No, but it's been it's been several years. I saw the first one alone
still before they announced this
several years ago, when I was younger,
And for some people, the original sequels kind of get a bad rap for whatever reason.
Yeah. Now, which totally makes sense because for those who don't know, at the third movie, it kind of leaves off on a big cliffhanger.
Absolute controversial
huge
ending.
Controversial cliffhanger, and
for nearly 20 years.
For almost 20 years, yeah. And if you didn't know there's gonna be a fourth one, you'd be like, "What the heck? This movie sucks. Why would they do it like that?" Now when I saw it, obviously I didn't know they were making a third movie either. So I mean, was I as angry as maybe some original longtime fans? No, but it was still a few years before I was even gonna know about the fourth one.
Yeah,
but
I watched them like a year ago.
Yeah, but then when I knew about the fourth one, I'm like, okay, I'm excited. This can redeem the third one,
right?
And make more. And
so, what did you think? Was it a worthy sequel?
Was it a worthy sequel? Yes, and I stand by this opinion.
So do I.
Because like about a year ago, when we were a little bit more into like some peak quarantine or whatever, peak COVID, I decided to introduce Justin into the Matrix.
So we watched all three of them.
So we watched all three together. Justin enjoyed them very much, and so
all three of them have cool stuff to. All four of them have stuff to offer.
Yeah. Now, usually when movie franchises do whether it's a third movie, a fourth movie, etc.,
getting the gang back together,
especially when it's been nearly 20 years, it's usually this movie's gonna be terrible. This is a cash grab. They don't even care about the story and whatever. But I stand by my opinion when I say that I think this movie not only was not only did it make sense, it was definitely needed, and it was good.
It made the third one better.
This movie made the third one better. Plus, the fourth movie stood on its own.
And this wouldn't have been possible without, and they brought the original director back.
Yes. So. Now, the original Matrix was comprised of 2 directors. Now, this time, for the fourth one, they were only able to get one of the original directors back, which is fine because it's still one of the original visionaries of this story.
But they're really the only person who understands how this story works.
If they would have brought anybody else, I would have been completely against this movie. Even if they would have brought every single person back from the cast, if the director was not right, I was against this movie. But since they brought the director back, I was for it. Plus, obviously, they brought Keanu back for Neo, and they brought Carrie-Anne Moss back for Trinity.
And even though we were very apprehensive about it, I thought it was very interesting how they handled Morpheus.
It was Now, although Lawrence Fishburne did not come back to play Morpheus, which is okay, the
reasoning behind it, made sense.
It definitely made sense. And while their portrayal of this Morpheus wasn't necessarily the same, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, I still thought it was pretty good. Plus, I mean, he had great outfits. Those were prime Morpheus fits.
You could still say that this movie was a little bit more style over substance, but
but
still enjoyable nonetheless.
Now, since I am more of like the diehard Matrix fan that Justin is, Justin, he admitted himself that he definitely enjoyed it more after I kind of explained it to him.
Because at first I was like, that was cool, but like,
he was like, what the heck happened? I was like, allow me to introduce myself. Let me tell you what we just watched. Without getting too deep, because obviously it's not going to make any sense to anybody who's never seen the movies. I thought that the fourth one was good because, like we said, not only did it made the third one better, but if you obviously, if you're just like, I hate to say it, but if you're a casual fan, and you just watch the movie and you're just like, oh, I mean, cool sci-fi movie or a cyberpunk-esque movie, like, oh, that was cool, but that doesn't make sense. But I think if you are truly a fan of the series and you get how the world works and how the universe is set for this franchise, then
it mostly makes sense.
Then you will have an easier time not only understanding the fourth one but enjoying it. Now, obviously, I'm not saying I'm like, I'm not trying to say I'm the biggest Matrix fan ever, because I'm not. But I do enjoy it enough to where there was at a certain point during the new one, I understood what was happening and where it was going. So then I was like, okay, this is how this plays in, and this is how this plays in. So then it can help me kind of unfold the story in my head. So I mean, it's definitely not. Those movies definitely aren't like you're gonna like sit back and watch a chill movie, like, especially for the first time. They're thanker movies, like they definitely are.
Like when I watched the first one for the first time, I mean, it blew my mind.
It was so funny seeing Justin watch, but he was going crazy, and then I was explaining it to him, and his mind was like blown. And
so obviously nothing's gonna live up to the first one.
No, like I'm not even kidding. The first movie is in my top 5 of all time. I love everything about it. It's great.
But I think the concluding thought is that like it was worth making.
Yeah, especially like I thought the end was very good payoff. I thought it was very good. I'm not gonna say it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Like
the end with the two, but it was just one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
All right. Well, either way, I thought the ending was great. There were some points where I was like, what is going on? But then I kind of figured out. But I also want to say they introduced a brand new character in this movie, which, you think, oh my gosh, you're going to introduce a new character 4 movies in.
Which I thought was likable.
But I thought not only was she a likable character, but she made sense in the story and like kind of stood on her own as her own character.
Yeah. I think that if you like the first Matrix but weren't into this one, I kind of understand.
I mean,
if you weren't into it, I understand.
Like this is like a very like niche fandom to be a part of.
And to be honest, for each person, it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know what it is, but I think these movies were it's just the perfect amount of everything. It just hits that sweet spot for me, So. Because I'm trying to look it up right now to see what I had. I don't know if I had rated the other. I rated the first one. Oh yeah.
I say it's probably
I say
third best.
I
right?
like it. Yeah. It's my third favorite. I like it better than the third one, because I have the I have the first one as a perfect 5 out of 5.
Obviously.
I have the second one as a 4. I almost, when you watch this, I almost put the fourth one as a 4 as well.
Which I wouldn't be opposed to.
Which I wouldn't be opposed to either, but in my head, I just wanted to just be a little bit lower than the second one. So I have just 3.5, and then the fourth, and then the third one. Third one is a 3. So,
okay.
Not that I think the third one was bad, but this one takes that plus more. So.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess that covers the winter movie season.
Yeah, that's about all we've really seen that was like new in theater movies.
Yeah, like you said,
or new release movies, I should say.
We'll be having some discussions on upcoming releases, but for some peak, but we'll get around to that.
Yeah.
I guess some quick fire looks into the year to update you on some more nerd culture. Yeah, like we said, we got a lot of movies. A lot of series streaming, some music coming out, lots of stuff for gaming and things.
If you play lots of games, you're a game fan, we're eating this year. Okay, there's so much coming out.
So, let's kind of go off the tail end of some things. So, moving on from this Spider-Man discussion.
Yeah.
The box office is still gonna keep having its reign of Tom Holland because I think about a week from this releasing is. Tom Holland's Uncharted movie is coming out. So we won't get into it too much because multiple times these past 2 seasons we've expressed our thoughts on the Uncharted franchise and our thoughts on the movie. So all in all, yeah, I think it comes out next weekend. Hollywood knows by now that Tom Holland's a box office draw.
So of course they were gonna,
Of course, it's going to be successful. If it's good, that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But
we will let you know if it's good.
Well, we're not going to see it opening weekend.
No, we won't.
But once we see it, we'll give a low review on it.
Yeah, once we see it.
Because I feel very strongly about this.
Yeah, I do too.
You can refer to the fancast / movies that need to be made episode for our fancast.
Where we talked all about it.
And I think a couple times we've talked about it in a culture shock segment.
And obviously we've talked about the Uncharted 4 video game numerous times on here and how much of a masterpiece it is. So
yeah, for fans of that, they just released the PS5 upgrade edition of Uncharted 4. So I've been playing that the past week.
Yeah, Justin's been grinding through that for sure.
So it's a good way for people to get refreshed before seeing the movie.
Yeah.
But I think that comes out on the 18th. But I think on the 18th, instead of seeing the movie, I would much rather be playing another PlayStation-oriented release, which is quite possibly contender for Game of the Year.
Contender of Game of the Year.
Goated Guerrilla Games Studio is putting out their sequel, Horizon Forbidden West.
Sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn of 2017.
Definitely be spending next weekend playing that.
Pretty much going to spend the next month playing that.
Sorry, Tom Holland, but Aloy's my priority here.
My priority, too.
So, PlayStation gamers, definitely get geared up for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. If you haven't played the first one, what are you doing? Play the first one. I mean, if you play games. Play the first one right now, okay? Because it's amazing. Because this next one, there has been a lot of games that have come out in the 2 years, in the past 2 years especially, that have, whether they are brand new games or are sequel games, that have just underperformed, flopped, and just have been disappointments, especially for sequels.
This really looks like it's going to live up.
Now, I know you could say this about any game that has come out, and granted, I have unfortunately fallen victim to games that I was excited for that ended up underperforming and me being disappointed with. But this truly, and I really mean it, looks like not only a new game, but a sequel that is not only going to be amazing, but can be better than the first.
Right. I mean, it really looks like it's going to be one of the best things PlayStation's put out in a while.
Yeah.
If ever. So I could have a whole episode about this, but just as a big fan of...
Justin's our resident Horizon diehard.
I'm definitely the diehard. As a fan of this IP, one of my most anticipated entertainment pieces of media of the year.
Uh-huh.
So Just had to plug that there.
Definitely.
So, yeah, so we've got, obviously, we didn't even have episodes this past month because it was mid-January.
And what happens in
nothing
mid-January?
happens in January.
Nothing.
So you just got to get through that month. February's not that great either, but at least it's only 28 days.
Yeah. 28 days of suffering.
Yeah. But, trying to get everybody through this depressive season by giving you some content to listen to. We'll start off next month. Real fire.
March is going to be a heater. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So we're getting through these dog days of winter, and we can look forward to lots of things to talk about on the show and lots of things to look forward to in the media. So yeah, that's what's going on.
That's what's been going on, and that's what's gonna be going on.
There's a lot going on.
So get pumped and get excited because there's a lot of things coming out this year, and Fresh Squeeze episodes are also back every week.
Yep. Moving forward every Friday for the rest of the season until
the foreseeable future.
Until we say stop.
Until we probably have a season 3 finale. Do a probably like a summer break or whatever. So yeah.
Well,
we'll be back at it.
Yeah, like we said, what we like to call a year of peak fiction.
Yes, sir.
That's our
indeed.
Anything else? Talk about in news? Anything you want to talk about regarding the show?
Well, actually, relevant news to as today of recording, just because I figured we throw it out there, just because I want to talk about it, is just today it was shown and announced the official release date for the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Yeah, as of today,
as of the day of filming or recording,
as of this week, Book of Boba is coming to a close. Been an absolute fantastic miniseries.
Absolutely great. Amazing.
Lucasfilm's like, hey, let's just keep the people updated. Boom, Obi-Wan Kenobi coming out in May.
Like, today was the final episode of Book of Boba? Well, guess what? Yeah, you also get the Obi-Wan date confirmation.
Yeah, like, when the year started, I really guessed when everything was I guessed it was gonna come out in May. And the 25th makes sense because it's the 45th anniversary of the original Star Wars movie.
That makes sense.
So that's quite a cool callback. And then, really looking forward to that series. And then just gonna be plenty of other cool streaming content going forward from there.
I mean, considering how good Boba has been by itself,
right?
I think Kenobi is just gonna be great. It could possibly, if not better. I think it could be let's be real. We all love Mando, but I think if they do Kenobi right, it could really rival the best Star Wars show.
Kenobi's already one of the greatest characters in the saga, so
yeah. So
really looking forward to see what they do with that. It's just a great time to be a Star Wars fan.
It's an amazing time.
There's plenty of other things that we'll catch up on this season in the pod. We'll keep giving updates and reviews on all these entertainment outlets. And week to week, we'll just keep talking about whatever comes to mind. Anything that you liked about these previous seasons, hit us up with a message, and maybe we'll talk more about it. If you liked us talking about food tier list, we'll do that. You want to hear more about urban conspiracies, we'll do that. You want to have it be on as a guest, let us know.
We could get it arranged. Actually, I was just thinking about tier lists myself. I just personally love doing tier lists. They're so much fun.
We might have to do one next week.
Plus, it's just we get feisty during tier lists, so it's just fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. We do agree a lot on things, but ranking things is where it really gets heated.
Yeah. Because Justin probably thinks something's mid, while I think it's S tier.
Yeah.
All right.
Candy one gets us messed up.
Candy. My candy list was elite. Okay, I said only eat elite.
I know. So refer to that for that intensity.
Yeah.
So, well, that wraps up our intro episode for season 3. I think. Thanks for joining us once again for this start to the season. So we look forward to giving more discussions and possibly even hearing. We're always welcome for feedback and interaction.
Yes, we are.
So, that's it for this week. Until then, we'll be putting out some more content on a weekly